A storm brews in Sevs unleashes medical mystery, paternity bombshells, and heartbreak for young lovers. What began as a terrifying health emergency for young couple Tate Black and Sophia Choi is now spiraling into a life-altering revelation, one that no one in Salem saw coming. As Tate suddenly falls ill during Sophia's 18th birthday celebration, their rush to the hospital sparks more than just concerns about a dangerous virus. Instead, this medical crisis may be the key that finally unlocks a secret buried in Sophia's past. While doctors work to determine what's making Tate sick and whether Sophia and her unborn baby are at risk, a shocking truth is set to emerge: Tate is not the baby's father. In a twist that will rock their young lives, it's Aaron Green, not Tate, who may turn out to be the real father of Sophia's child. What was meant to be a moment of celebration has become a turning point that could destroy trust, break hearts, and change the course of their futures forever. As emergency crews rushed Tate and Sophia to University Hospital, one thing became disturbingly clear: this was not a minor illness. Tate's symptoms were acute and sudden, sparking fears of a potentially dangerous, contagious condition, possibly a virus, one that might have serious consequences for both him and those around him. Did Tate unknowingly expose Sophia and her baby to a dangerous virus? Rumors are swirling among the fanbase, and many can't help but draw eerie parallels to real-world headlines. Across the United States, several states have been grappling with renewed measles outbreaks. This highly contagious disease, thought by many to be largely eradicated, is making an alarming comeback. Could Tate's illness be something similar? If so, this raises immediate, life-threatening concerns for Sophia, who is pregnant, and for her unborn child. Exposure to something like measles, especially during pregnancy, can have severe consequences. The virus can cause complications ranging from premature labor to fetal developmental issues. It's not just a medical scare, it could be a storyline that leads to a major revelation about trust, betrayal, and identity. As viewers know, Sophia has been on bed rest due to high blood pressure and preeclampsia, a condition that can put both mother and baby at extreme risk. Adding a viral exposure into the mix? That's a recipe for potential disaster. Hidden truths in the blood, a paternity revelation waiting to happen. But beyond the immediate health concerns, there's another plot thread gaining traction, one that could forever reshape the young lovers' futures. Medical crises often bring out hidden truths, especially in Salem. If the hospital decides to run a full panel of tests on Sophia and her baby, as would be routine in such a case, the results could inadvertently expose a stunning secret. What if Tate Black isn't actually the father of Sophia's baby? It's a question that's been bubbling under the surface for months, and this health scare might just be the trigger that brings everything to light. The drama around the paternity has been brewing since the night Sophia became pregnant. While she insists the baby is Tate's, there has always been a shadow of doubt, and one name keeps popping up: Aaron Green, Louis Tomeo. The Aaron factor, a forgotten afternoon, could hold the answers. Let's rewind to a key moment. Some fans will recall a tense and emotional fight between Sophia and Tate. It was sparked when Tate, in a moment of distraction or perhaps confusion, accidentally called Sophia by another girl's name, Holly Jonas, played by Ashley Puzimis, while they were in bed together. Sophia was understandably furious. Her trust was shaken. Her heart bruised. Shortly after that confrontation, Sophia was seen spending time with Aaron. It wasn't just a casual hangout. In fact, it was heavily implied that they spent an intimate afternoon together. Though how far things went has never been confirmed on screen. What we do know is that Aaron attempted to speak with Tate before leaving Salem, seemingly burdened by a secret. Could that secret have been about Sophia? If Aaron and Sophia were together that day, physically, then the timeline of the pregnancy becomes murky. It's entirely possible that the baby could be his. And if that's the case, everything Sophia thought she knew would be turned upside down. Emotional fallout. Tate and Sophia face the unknown. What happens next could be emotionally devastating for both young characters. If the baby is in danger, from a virus, from complications related to Sophia's health, or even from stress, Tate and Sophia will be terrified. Regardless of the baby's paternity, there's no doubt that Tate cares deeply for Sophia and the unborn child. The idea that he may have exposed them to something harmful would weigh heavily on him. But if the medical tests uncover a deeper truth, that the child isn't his, then we're looking at a betrayal that could fracture their bond permanently. And viewers know that in Salem, nothing stays buried forever. Why this storyline matters: youth, consequences, and truth in the soap world. What makes this particular arc so compelling is that it blends real-life issues with soap opera suspense. The threat of disease, the vulnerability of a young couple in love, and the uncertainty of paternity are not just classic soap tropes, they're also reflections of modern fears. The re-emergence of measles and other preventable illnesses in the U.S. is a genuine public health concern, especially for pregnant women and infants. By weaving in these themes, Days of Our Lives reminds its loyal audience, many of whom have been watching for decades, that life is fragile, choices have consequences, and secrets have a way of surfacing at the worst possible time. Looking ahead, will the truth come out in Salem? As we wait for the next episode, viewers are on edge. Will doctors discover something that changes Tate and Sophia's lives forever? Will a seemingly simple illness lead to a shocking truth? Could Tate lose not just his health, but also the family he thought he was building? And what of Aaron Green? Will he return to Salem with the truth? Or will another twist emerge before he can speak? The revelation hit Salem like a tidal wave. For Sophia, it was as if the world collapsed beneath her. She had clung to the belief, perhaps even the hope, that Tate was the father. Not only because he had stood by her during a difficult pregnancy, but because the idea of building a future with him had become her lifeline in the chaos. The betrayal she feared had now turned inward. It wasn't Tate who betrayed her. It was her own secret that shattered their relationship. Tate, still recovering from the mysterious illness that had landed him in the hospital, could barely process the news. At first, he refused to believe it. He demanded retests. He questioned the lab's credibility. But no amount of denial could erase what science had confirmed. The baby wasn't his. It was Aaron's. The question then hung in the air like a storm cloud: what happens now? Would there be a wedding? No. At least, not now. Plans for a life together, dreams of raising a family, and even whispered conversations about baby names, all of it disappeared in an instant. Tate couldn't bring himself to speak to Sophia. The silence between them was more brutal than any shouting match. And Sophia, still reeling from medical stress and emotional guilt, didn't try to stop him when he walked out of her hospital room. Aaron, for his part, returned to Salem as soon as the news reached him. He had always suspected the truth, but out of fear, or maybe cowardice, he stayed away. Now that the truth was undeniable, he stepped forward. His first act wasn't to claim paternity, but to ask Sophia what she wanted. Did she want him involved? Did she want to keep the baby? Did she even want to raise it at all? Sophia was torn. Her heart ached with regret and confusion. She still cared for Tate, deeply. But Aaron's quiet sincerity and willingness to take responsibility moved her. She wasn't ready to forgive herself, let alone begin a new relationship. The only thing she was sure of was this: she couldn't make any decisions in anger or guilt. Word spread quickly through Salem, as it always does. Some, like Teresa and Brady, were furious on Tate's behalf. They saw Sophia as reckless and selfish. Others, like Marlena and Kayla, reminded everyone that these were kids. Scared, overwhelmed, and trying to navigate consequences bigger than themselves. A surprise voice of calm came from John Black, who told Tate, "Love isn't just about biology. It's about choice. Whether or not that child is yours by blood, it's your choice what role you play next." Sophia, with support from her family and a therapist, decided not to give the baby up for adoption, at least, not yet. She wanted time to think, to heal. Aaron offered to co-parent, even if it meant starting from a place of uncertainty. They weren't in love. They weren't even friends yet. But they were connected now, and he wanted to be there. As for Tate, he stayed away for a while. He needed space. Time. Eventually, he returned to the hospital, not to rekindle a romance, but to hold Sophia's hand during a follow-up ultrasound. It wasn't a promise. It wasn't a reconciliation. But it was a start. In Salem, the truth always comes out. And when it does, it doesn't just break hearts, it reshapes lives. For Tate, Sophia, and Aaron, the storm has passed. But the rebuilding is only just beginning.